Hi, I'm Chia-Ti. I go by she, her pronouns. Overwhelm happens when we have strong emotional reactions to the busyness that's going on in our lives. We can have so much on our plates, facing a lot of stress, and we can tend to feel overwhelming feelings in our bodies. I once heard that emotions are energy with a story. And I know for me, for example, when I'm angry, I often think about the person I'm angry with, what they did, why they did the thing, how many times have they done it. And then my mind just kind of spirals and then I get overwhelmed. But if we can be with an emotion, research has shown if we can be with an emotion for 90 seconds without attaching a story to it, the emotion will shift and change. It's not easy, but we can be able to be with our emotions in a way that we're not sucked into overwhelm and that we can create the ability to be able to respond to our emotions instead of constantly reacting to them. One way of dealing with overwhelm is firstly to notice. So I'll invite you to do that now. However your body is shaped, whether you're sitting or standing, whatever other posture you're in, can you notice how the muscles of your body feel? Do they feel tight, rigid, tense? Do your muscles feel soft, relaxed, easeful? And just noticing. Often emotions have a physical impact on the body. Just think about when you're happy, how does your heart feel? When you're sad, how does your body feel? So as you're thinking about and checking in with how the muscles are feeling in the body, just also notice if you're feeling any state of overwhelm. And if thinking about overwhelm is overwhelming, I invite you to take a pause from the noticing and do something else. Maybe take a big breath in and out. Maybe take a sip of water. Look at something in your space that feels neutral or pleasant enough to look at. Otherwise, if we have the capacity to be with how we're feeling, we can really be able to tune in to see what we need. And sometimes what we need when we're starting to feel overwhelmed or dealing with large emotions is to feel those emotions release. So I'm going to do a short practice called tense and release, where we deliberately tense up the muscles of the body so that when we release that hold or tension, hopefully we can feel that we're creating more spaciousness inside. When we have a feeling of spaciousness, when we feel like we have the inner capacity to be with our emotions, we often feel strong enough internally so we can deal with overwhelm. So let's practice a few rounds of this. The first one we'll do is taking our hands, squeezing our hands into fists, and then feel that tension as you're squeezing your hands into fists. And then when you release, open your hands, open your fingers, and then notice the difference of feeling. Does it feel different from when you squeezed your hands to opening your hands? Let's do that again with the breath. So inhale, squeeze your hands, keep inhaling, squeeze, and then exhale, release. Again, noticing the difference between tensing and releasing. If that felt okay enough to do, let's add on squeezing our hands and lifting our shoulders on the inhale. So inhale, squeeze the hands, lift up the shoulders, tighten up the muscles, feel the tightness of the muscles there, and then exhale. Just release the shoulders, release the hands, and then just notice. Notice if there is a difference of feeling, perhaps a pleasant feeling when you release. And let's do that one more time. Squeezing our hands, lifting up the shoulders, inhale, 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 and exhale, release. Open the hands, bring down the shoulders, full exhalation. And again, noticing. When we can increase our ability to let go of tension, let go of the tightness around our feelings, then those feelings have the space they need to change. Otherwise, if we feel bound up by a feeling, really irritated, really upset by something, and we kind of hold on to that feeling, it has no space to change. So when we're dealing with overwhelm, we're going to think about creating a bit of space around our feelings. And the next practice we'll do is a meditation on giving that space around the feelings. So I invite you to again tune in to how your body is feeling. Notice how the muscles are. If the muscles still feel a little tense, shake it out a little bit. And then I'll ask you to tune into how you're feeling emotionally. Maybe you're feeling exhausted. Maybe you're feeling curious. Maybe you're feeling sad yet grateful. So we have the capacity to feel more than one feeling at a time. So see if you can name it for yourself. How am I feeling? And again, if touching into how you're feeling feels overwhelming, you can move away from it. When we bring a mindful approach to how we're feeling, we're not just pretending it's not there, repressing our feelings, denying it. We're noticing, oh, right now it's a little too overwhelming for me to deal with. I don't need to go into it, and that's okay. Otherwise, if you feel like you do have the capacity right now to notice your emotions, notice your feelings, let's be with it. So on an inhalation, name that feeling to yourself, silently or out loud. And when you exhale, can you feel that similar release of when we opened our hands? Can you feel space around that feeling? So as an example, if I'm upset, I'm going to inhale, feeling and thinking about upset. And then when I exhale, I imagine space around that feeling so that I have the capacity to be with that emotion a little bit more. So whatever you're feeling, we'll do this a few rounds, inhaling, naming, noticing, feeling the emotion. And then when you exhale, feeling, thinking, creating space around the emotion. Inhaling, naming the emotion. Exhaling, feeling a little bit more ease and space around the feeling. Inhaling, noticing the feeling. Exhaling, noticing the space around the feeling. And keep going for a few more rounds. You might notice there's not a lot of space at all. There's a lot of tightness around the feeling. And I've been feeling this feeling not just for 90 seconds, but for a whole week. And that's okay. Just give yourself time, be patient with yourself. When you're patient with yourself, that also helps you to cope with overwhelm. Slowing down helps us to cope with overwhelm. Just taking a few moments of connecting very kindly to yourself can also help with overwhelm. On your next exhalation, slowly releasing the practice and noticing how you feel. If either of these practices were helpful, I encourage you to try them out and practice as often as you like. Take very good care.